O que acende a sua vontade de começar algo? Tem uma faísca em você que te chama para empreender, investir, dar novos rumos para sua vida. E para todos os seus começos, você pode contar com Santander Select. Um banco mais pessoal, mais próximo, mais humano. Um time de especialistas com olhar atento para cada momento da sua vida. Porque você sabe, só quem já deu muitos passos está pronto para continuar começando. Santander Select. Começa em você, começa agora.
Desculpa a interrupção do meio tempo, mas só passei rapidinho pra te lembrar que Conmebol Copa América 2024 e a UEFA Euro 2024 já estão disponíveis no EA Sports FC Mobile. Não perca tempo, vem participar desses eventos e vivenciar o melhor do futebol. Viva a emoção do verdadeiro futebol e escreva um novo capítulo nas histórias dos seus jogadores favoritos e todos os times participantes. EA Sports FC Mobile, o jogo de todo mundo no seu bolso. Participe e jogue agora. Inclui compras opcionais dentro do jogo, inclui itens aleatórios.
Precisa ferir a pressão, medir a glicemia ou tomar uma vacina? Na Raia tem exames, testes e calendário vacinal completo. E o que é melhor, tem sempre uma Raia aí perto de você. É fácil, prático e rápido. Dá para ir entre uma música e outra. Procure nossos farmacêuticos. Quanto mais você conhece o que a gente faz na Raia, mais você se cuida.
And welcome back to a new episode of the Skating Penguin Network Mailbag, everyone. It is Robbie here once again on a beautiful July day. We are in the second week of July here. I am joined by Snail, who is still coming off his ailment from last week. He sounds better than he did when we met up last week to talk free agents, but still coming down from his illness, but he is back in the podcast chair as well. Snail, how is it out there in Seattle?
It's really hot. We're starting to go through a bit of a heat wave out here. It's going to be 90s, which is a heat wave for Seattle. 90s is a heat wave.
Yeah.
COVID went through my household, so everybody is recovering from COVID while it's just getting as hot and humid as it's probably going to be all summer. So that's cool. Actually really sucks. Sleep is really tough right now, even with AC. So, and not just that, but there's been this, it's the 8th day of July and we don't have a Sidney Crosby contract extension, pen to paper yet. So that's been adding to, just the overall stress on my well-being. But other than that, not too bad. Summer is summering right now.
Yeah. Summer is summering. That is, about, the perfect way to say that. And, we're going to jump right into the mailbag here. I'll take the first question so Snell can read it off to me.
Yep.
And we'll get going.
Yep. So the first question is coming from our good pal, Kim Larson, and it's regarding a new acquisition. And it's short and sweet. Essentially, is Kevin Hayes what you dreamed of as the new third line center for the Pittsburgh Penguins?
I can't say dreamed of. That is a pretty descriptive word there to say. I dreamed of Kevin Hayes as our third C, but I think it's the best option that was probably available for the price. Even looking through the free agents now that are still remaining, it's pretty slim pickings when it comes to just straight up centermen. And there wasn't much down on the farm to really write home about either. So yeah, Kevin Hayes, it was expensive, but they did get a pick to take that contract. So they had a little sweetener in there as well. And I think he's definitely an upgrade if they can push Lars Eller into a fourth line type role. I think that Kevin Hayes can play a better 3C than what we saw last year. But to say he's my dream 3C, I can't go that far. I think there was better options out there in terms of centermen available that they could have maybe gone after, but now that the initial wave of free agency has passed, the pickings are very slim. I just ran through some stuff here real quick, and nothing really jumps out to me. The best options available are restricted free agents who have been qualified by their team. So not too much to really select from in terms of a 3C. There's probably some good depth players for fourth liners, but not too much in the 3C fold. So yeah, we'll stick with Kevin Hayes and see how they plan to move forward when the season starts, but it is what it is. And I think he's an improvement, but definitely not what I would consider a dream 3C. From Brian here. Brian back here after off his mail route to get some questions in here. He said the need for a top 6 winger is still there. With Tarasenko signing in Detroit, who do you see them taking a swing at, or who would you like to see them taking a swing at?
Honestly, Brian, the Flow Bro, as we like to call each other, I don't know if I agree with that statement that we need a top 6 winger right now.
Okay.
I don't know if that's not me taking an easy route out of this or anything by any means. I would have loved Tarasenko. I think your team's better with Tarasenko on it than without it, but he got like what, $300,000 or $400,000 more from Yzerman over there, and probably another year. I could see Dubas offering him like a 1 year, whatever they had left as far as cap space goes, and he got 2 years at just a few $100,000 more. So sucks that, Stevie Y snatched him up. Him and Kane reunited over there in Detroit. But I mean, the only guy that I don't really like in the top 6 is Raquel. And Raquel, he was injured all of last year. If Raquel's healthy, I like him as a right winger. But as far as just entertaining the question for what it is, Brian Flowbro, who do they take a swing at? I don't really know if he's not a free agent or anything, but I'm curious about that Nick Robertson in Toronto. Asked for a trade. I think he's like a first round pick. If not a first round pick, he's a second. Great journalism on my part. I know he's got a wicked shot. Brother of Jason Robertson, superstar in Dallas. I've heard interviews with Jason. He's got the hockey IQ playmaking ability, and his brother's just got the wicked one-timer. So I wouldn't. He's young, not really getting the top 6 minutes in Toronto because we all know why. And I mean, I wouldn't mind the Penguins taking a swing at him and seeing how he fit in their system. Dubas is familiar with him, but what about you, Robbie? Anyone out there that you're still hoping they maybe take a swing at?
The only names that really pop out to me is taking a flyer on a guy like Jacob Vrana, just to see if he could add some of that speed.
Is he out there?
He's a free agent. Yeah, he's a UFA. Oh. He never really stuck in Detroit. Other than that, again, it's slim pickings here. I don't know if Proslovic is.
He got snatched up by Carolina.
Okay, so that's a very Carolina move right there. Absolutely. What
about Phil Kessel?
After last season, I just don't see him playing in the NHL again. I just don't see. What about a guy like Daniel Sprong?
I mean, I love Spongy. I'd take him back in Pittsburgh any day.
You have an option there. He's out there. Other than that, though, you're unless you're trying to find a diamond in the rough, your options are pretty slim on the free agent market. So it may take some kind of trade, but it's not easy to trade for a top 6 forward. So we'll have to see what Kyle Dubas has up his sleeve. But again, I don't necessarily disagree with you that the top 6 needs another big name in it right now with what's on the roster. So
I want more. As far as the top 6 goes, I mean, I love Drew O'Connor. I'm a Drew O'Connor fan. Like I love what he's turning into. I think if he's at his ceiling right now, he's a middle 6 guy, but if he just keeps getting better, which he's shown, he just keeps getting better and better the more looks he gets in the NHL. I love him as a winger for Sid. He's not going to put up Jake Gensel numbers. I just don't know if he has that kind of ceiling, but I mean, dude, he's a Hyman light. He kind of has that, he's got that range and that lankiness, but he's good down low where Sid likes to play down below the dots, and he's good along the boards. I love DOC in that top 6 role. And then Rust, I love Rust on Sid's wing as well. Raquel on Gino's wing, and Bunting. I mean, that's a solid top 6 in my opinion for what the Penguins, need. I don't think they necessarily need a sniper or anything like that in their top 6. What I think they need is, we've been saying it for years, it's like bolstering that bottom 6. We need, I think we need 3rd and 4th lines with identities. And, it's kind of weird when, we talked about this last time we recorded, Robbie. It's like Dubas just signed a ton of guys, just a bunch of kind of guys. Guys that maybe can score a little bit, guys that can forecheck, guys that can play physical, but no real common thread amongst all of them. They're all just kind of guys. So that's more what I think the Penguins have needed for years and years and years. But they'll whittle down this roster as we get closer to puck drop in October, and camps are going on. There's going to be players that are pushing for NHL jobs and whatnot. So we'll see. There's a lot to be determined still, but top 6 in my opinion is settled. I don't mind it now.
I would agree with that.
All right, question from Andreas Castle, and he asks you, Robbie, did you notice Sid celebrating with the Canadian national team after reaching the semifinals in the Copa America?
I did. He was celebrating in the locker room with the Canadian national team and gave a little speech. It's very interesting to see Sid kind of just out in the wild, I guess you could say. Every time you see Sid, even when they were on break last year for the All-Star game, he was still in, was it Montana or something, skating at an outdoor rink and getting some work in and stuff like that. So, yeah, weird to see Sid in shorts and a T-shirt. But good for him to get out there to support his country mates, especially that most of those guys on that team were probably a little in awe of a guy like Crosby being a Canadian legend and being able to celebrate a big moment for that team with him had to be pretty cool. So,
Did Canada win a game?
Yeah, they're in the semifinals. They won their quarterfinal matchup. So they will play Argentina and Messi in the semifinals on either Tuesday or Wednesday. I'm not sure exactly which day. So, yeah, good luck. They've already lost to Argentina once in this tournament. So best of luck your second go-around. I'm glad it's not me. So,
well, I mean, that's exciting for Canada. They're not a,
they're not a soccer powerhouse, that's for sure. So
that's for sure.
Yeah. All right, moving right along here with Kim back again. How many positions do we need to strengthen before we can be considered a contender again? And what positions do you believe those are?
I think the Penguins could use some fourth line wingers, some grittier but responsible type wingers. They're not very abundant out there, I think a guy like Delorier, he's already in Philly. I remember there was rumblings the Penguins were going to pick up a guy like him. He can throw his weight around, but he's also an elite penalty killer. Guys like him, they just don't grow on trees, man. But in a perfect world, I would say two. We need 2 Acharis on Achari's wing. I would like 2 Achari-like players to play on that fourth line. I thought a guy like Patrick Maroon would be great on the fourth line for the Penguins. Good down low, good along the boards, hockey IQ. I can throw the weight around. Someone like him, but I'd like to see 2 fourth line wingers that have an identity and a role. And then I would say it's been a hot topic for since that last game of the season and on Long Island. It's the goaltending, man. I think for me, it's just I think something needs to be done with Jari. I just think that the writing's on the wall. And when I say the writing's on the wall, I mean, it's just that last game was very telling. It was weird.
Yeah.
We talk about it at nauseum, but they started Nedeljkovic after, he just went how many games? I don't even remember anymore how many games in a row it was, but trying to do everything to keep this team in. He was the Penguins' starting goaltender. He was their guy. And then when he honestly deserved a break and to finally just sit back and do nothing, they started him again for a game that meant absolutely nothing. They'd already been eliminated. So for me, that still just sticks out in my head. It's still pretty prominent in my mind. And when you're trying to scrape together some money to sign a guy like Tarasenko or whatever, it's I just think if you got that $5 million off the books or whatever it is you owe Jari every year, Jari's cap essentially, I think that that would disagree with you. Also, what's his name? Not Askarov, Murashev was he's in he's in Cranberry, isn't he?
Yeah, he's at I think we'll have a question about that on Thursday in part 2 of the mailbag. But yeah, he's in Cranberry with the prospects.
So with him up here, it's like he's a very highly touted. I mean, people have been calling him the next Vasilevsky. He's a highly touted goalie prospect. Him and Blomqvist are two good goalie prospects, and then you have Ned locked up for I think what did he get 3 years or 2 years?
Who's that? Ned.
Ned
got 2.
Ned got 2 years. So, and like I said, I think Robbie, we talked about this too. If you got rid of Jari and all of a sudden you find yourself in a little bit of goalie trouble, you can go out and sign a journeyman goaltender, someone with some NHL experience, somebody who's, been a good backup. Like everyone's kind of got one right now. It seems a guy of the kind of Louis Dominguez ilk or Lauren Brossois or I don't know, James Reimer type. They're out there. So for me, I think the other part that I'd solidify is I think you just got to find something to do with Jari, and maybe they're trying. Maybe there's just no takers on him, but I find that hard to believe considering kind of the climate right now, the goalie market. There's been some carousel, some movement as far as goalies go, and I think there's a bunch of teams out there that don't have a bona fide number one, and I think Jari can be that. It's just not really worked out in Pittsburgh. So what about you, Robbie? Anything glaring to you that you'd like to see strengthened?
It's the goaltending is what sticks out more than anything. I mean, I think on paper, the roster's solid. Again, the power play, obviously, that's a unit, not really a position. We'll talk about that many points this offseason and in the next season. But for me, it's the goaltending. If Jari can be the guy that he has shown at times, they're fine. But if he can't, that's a lot of money to tie up in 2 guys with no true number one. So for me, it's quite clearly the goaltending, and it just has to be that is the top right now. If they can find a way to improve it before the season, if they want to move Jari, whatever. But to me, that is still the big what if and the big hole on this roster.
I think that's got to be it. Goaltending. All right, I think I don't know if this is a new question asker or not. Looks new to me as far as
I believe John has asked a question in the past, but it might have even been before you were ever apart.
Okay, so John Rosselli, he asks, Robbie, why is the Penguins website and app the worst in media? Delayed articles, videos, etc. Also, when looking at a roster, what missed the playoffs? When looking at a roster that missed the playoffs by a point, whose power plays was so bad it defies logic, and looking at other teams in the division, why is the outlook so negative?
So, John, I can't really answer to the website thing. I don't know how delayed the articles are or anything like that. The app, I don't really use the Penguins app much. I use the NHL app for most of that stuff. So can't really speak to that, the developers or how it gets pushed out from the team. But as of the roster, why is there so much negativity? I just think a part of it's cynicism. I think a lot of folks after the last 2 years wanted a big splash move. Again, you think Carlson would be that, but again, after that didn't exactly work out necessarily as planned. They were thinking something else big this year, and it was just more like Kevin Hayes, your depth guys, Nedeljkovic coming back, and the goaltending situation still being the question mark we just talked about. I just think it's cynicism, and then, again, the division's still good. You have the Devils are reloaded. If they get health, they're going to be good next year. Carolina's going to be there. The Rangers are weird, but the Rangers are a big question mark in my opinion. But if you get a Vezina-type season out of Shesterkin, they're going to be in the playoff hunt. The Flyers with Michkov coming over, and again, they collapsed at the end of the season. So was that youth or was that just the way the team's built? Columbus is still a disaster. The Islanders are annoying and are going to be there. So it's more or less just, do the Penguins have the roster to play, keep up with these teams? And yeah, if the power play was even mid last year, they're a playoff team pretty comfortably. So again, I mean, that's really what it comes down to. Again, the negativity. Again, maybe David Quinn wasn't the big splash move that everybody wanted for an assistant coach, but that is kind of what it is. That the Sharks power play was not bad in the second half of last year with a lot less talent than what the Penguins have on the roster. So I think it's just more or less a bad taste in everybody's mouth, and they're just kind of ready They were hoping for maybe a big move, but again, the Carlson move didn't come until August last year, so there's still plenty of time for a big splash to be made. But yeah, I think it's just a bad taste in everybody's mouth, just general cynicism. Pittsburgh fans are bad for that when it comes to all their sports teams, so it's just kind of one of those things that there's just kind of how we act, whether or not it's deserved. But yeah, I think it's just some frustration on part of the fans, which is understandable.
O que acende a sua vontade de começar algo? Tem uma faísca em você que te chama para empreender, investir, dar novos rumos para sua vida. E para todos os seus começos, você pode contar com Santander Select. Um banco mais pessoal, mais próximo, mais humano. Um time de especialistas com olhar atento para cada momento da sua vida. Porque você sabe, só quem já deu muitos passos está pronto para continuar começando. Santander Select. Começa em você, começa agora.
Jumping back to Brian here, the fact that we... Hold on. Oh, shoot. Yeah, sorry. The fact that we know talks have been ongoing with Sid about the extension hasn't been announced is a little concerning. This may be an overreaction, but that's what we Pens fans do. And I do have, after you talk about this, I have something to add to this.
All right. Yeah, no. I know that today I saw that there were some rumblings.
Okay, that's what I was going to add. So yeah, just roll.
I saw that some outlets came out and said that, the contracts are happening. I figured that it was going to be one of those things where if he didn't sign on July 1st, he was going to sign on August 7th.
I mean, that's very like that.
And it is August 8th. No, it's July 8th today, so 7/8. So
yeah, but he's picky enough where if it was 7/8, he would be like he would do it any day. That's not. I don't know. Sid's a weird bird.
He's a creature of habit. So
yeah,
I figured if we didn't hear of it on July 1st, it was going to come out 8/7/2024, and it does kind of stress me out. I just want it done.
Understandable.
But, and you know what it is? It's the Canadian media that I follow. That's they're all talking. They have nothing to talk about right now. So one of the big topics is, Sid to the Habs, Sid to Toronto, Sid to Colorado. It's they're not surprised he hasn't signed yet. They're saying that he's sitting there weighing his options. He's looking at what they said, that he's sitting there in Nova Scotia watching what Dubas has done, and he's starting to have second thoughts about signing. Yeah. That's what the Canadian media is saying. But Sid's loyal. He's not, it's not a Steven Stamkos situation.
No.
I think, I don't know if there's necessarily a number you say no to Sid right now, and I don't think Sid is going to ask for, what Shesterkin's asking for in New York for his next contract. Yeah. What did he say? He wanted like 14% of the cap or something?
Yeah.
He didn't even say a number. He's like, I want 14% of the cap.
He may have just made up that number might not even be like legal.
Right.
They'd have to pay him over if they go to the max 8 years,
they'd give him the DiPietro.
Yeah. Yeah, he would get. You can't even sign a DiPietro contract anymore.
Didn't he sign for 13 years or something like that?
Yeah, it was absurd, and that was one of the catalysts to the what made them limited to 8 years if you re-sign with the same team.
Yeah, that 8th year is only only with the team that kind of holds your rights.
And you have to do it by a certain day and stuff like that. Even you have to I think Sam Reinhart had to sign it by midnight of July 1st or something like that.
So Sid's not getting 8 years then.
I cannot imagine Sid. If Sid wants to play another 8 years and sign him to a 7-year, because he still has a year left on this contract, you can sign him to a 7-year deal for all I care if he thinks he can do it. But no. But yeah, that's. I mean, if Shesterkin wants that and wants to handicap the Rangers, cap.
Let him.
Yeah, absolutely.
But Sid's coming along. It's. I did wonder about how many years, though. Jokingly, 8 years, but realistically, I'm like, Robbie, are your what's kind of the stress levels if he signs a 1-year deal?
I mean, that means he has 2 years left. I don't know. I would be a little more anxious about him completing his career in Pittsburgh than if it's only a 1-year deal. He plays on a series of 1-year deals. But until I see that, I still think it's going to be a 3-year deal, which will give him 4 years on his time left in Pittsburgh, and we'll go from there.
Totally. I think it's going to be a 3-year deal, and I'm assuming it's going to come in at 8.7.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, you kind of figure that it's going to be there's going to be some kind of Crosby twist on it.
I mean, if he's getting paid, I mean, 8.7's been an underpayment for him for like 10 years.
More than 10 years, yeah.
More than 10 years. And if he gets 8.7 again, that's not pennies on the dollar for him.
No.
But it's also because the cap's going up. It's also, that's even more of a discount than it's been. It's just, I mean, even if he performs less than what he did last year, I would take that. But just for conversation's sake, what if he signs a 1-year deal, 8.7?
Yeah, then I'd be definitely a little more concerned about what his future plans are. But we're gonna cross fingers that we don't have to deal with that.
I trust Sid. He's a Pittsburgher for life.
He is. All
right, so we're gonna move on from that question now, and I think we're moving on to another question about footy.
Yeah, Kim.
From Kim Larson, and he asks, who do you think will reach the final of the Euros?
So, Kim, I wanted to make sure I got this in because
are the Euros different than the tournament that Canada's in right now?
So Copa America is North America and South America. The Euros are the European countries.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I wanted to get this in for you, Kim, since they are, I believe, Tuesday evening your time out there in Europe. But my predictions are it's going to be Spain, and just because I'm an England hater, I'm going with the Netherlands in the other semifinals. So I'm gonna say Spain and the Netherlands win their semifinals and face off in the final next Sunday, and then I will go with Spain to win the whole thing. From what I've watched, they've been the most complete team from start to finish. So that's my prediction. Kim, I know you're Danish, so they are out. Tony, Gail, please don't come for me as an England hater. And Andreas, I'm sorry I couldn't pick Germany over Spain. But don't hate. Please keep asking questions. We need content.
Do you think that our European listeners are just getting absolutely tuned up every night that these games are on with their countries?
Guarantee it. Especially, I guarantee you. Like, they all come from, like, drinking, like, countries where you associate with beer, too. Germany, England, Denmark. Like, they're all getting completely tuned up for these games, especially if their team's playing.
Do you think that they are they watching these games in the comfort of their flats, as they say, or at their homes? I don't know, or are they going to the pub, or are they out in the streets with just like those what do they call those things in Germany? The big mugs?
The Steins.
The Steins.
Yeah. They better be out there. I'd be disappointed if I found out our listeners weren't getting lit up with the fellow fans.
Yeah, I've seen the videos and stuff online. It's a scene out there when those football when their country's playing. It's like nothing I've ever seen before.
Absolutely. All right, last but not least, a new question asker this week. It comes from I believe his name is Garrett Bahana. He says, "Hi fellows, longtime creeper, kind of weird. First time question asker, so we appreciate the input here." He says, "I hope Snail gets chronic diarrhea." Okay, kind of weird to wish that on someone, but he says, "Anyway, give me some interior design advice as I had just agreed to rent my first apartment this week."
Well, applause for Garrett for renting his first apartment. That's a big deal. Our little guy's growing up. And Garrett, it's funny you say that because I've had COVID, and so you're not far off from wishing chronic diarrhea upon me. Things have been a little loose, but I'm getting better. So I'm being, it's not all credit goes to you. But as far as interior design, you should just go with like the Phil Kessel when they were selling his house, where it's the one chair in front of a TV. Mm-hmm. You should have like those old TVs, you know what I'm talking about, Robbie? The CRT TVs, the ones that are like an actual a 3D box.
You need like a crane to like move it. Yeah.
Yeah, and you need a lawn chair, like the foldable lawn chair in front of it.
Just the most the most like bro possible setup. Yeah, just go full. Yeah, absolutely agree with that. That'd be hilarious.
Yep, and knowing Garrett, he'll probably have a booger wall or something. Like he'll have a wall that he just flicks his boogers on, and one wall with like a poster of like I don't know what's like a something Garrett would watch. You know that show that movie Cars, the Pixar movie Cars.
Yeah.
I could see him having just like one poster of like some Cars scene on one wall.
Yeah,
and Garrett also seems like a wet wipes guy. He probably will have just wet wipes in the non-flushable wet wipes that ruin. Yeah, the non-flushable wet wipes in his bathroom, and yeah, that's what I see Garrett's interior looking like. What about you, Robbie? Got any tips for him?
So yeah, stripper pole, obviously. At some point, I think you have to get a hot tub. Obviously, at some point, you have to have Snail and I over at some point to completely critique everything you do, or send us pictures. Trying to think what else you definitely need. You definitely need to get. You have to have like a thing. Like, what is your thing? Get plants or something.
No, Garrett loves Star Wars.
Oh god, get a life-size stormtrooper.
Yeah, like they used to have it like the blockbusters and stuff.
And don't do drugs.
No, Garrett's gonna have his
basement toilet.
He's gonna be an apartment.
That's fine. He can just claim the basement for his own.
His basement toilet is just the people below him's toilet that he goes and uses. He's like, this is my Pittsburgh toilet. Knocks on their door.
This is my Pittsburgh. Yeah, you gotta use the bathroom, guys. And then just like look at him like, who is this super weird dude?
He's like, I got shin splints walking down here. Please let me use your bathroom.
Yeah, absolutely. He was chirping with Brian in the comments of the tweet. I don't know if you saw that.
I did.
Yeah, so Brian did wish him to get the return of his shin splints. So
just shots fired at Garrett as he's trying to be supportive, asking a question.
Yeah.
And then he says that he hopes that the USPS goes bankrupt and that he has to wear the poop brown uniform, which I think is US or UPS, right?
Yes, that's UPS.
Or the UPS, the United Parcel Service.
Yes.
That's what, and Brian's been vocal before. He would never work for those traitors.
Correct. Those did say that
lily-livered traitors of that is the U.S. the United Parcel Service.
Absolutely, but yeah. So Garrett, just make it your own. Get some posters. Get some weird Star Wars merchandise.
Make it so that if a woman ever set foot in there, she would absolutely squeal the tires out of there.
Yes, make it as woman repulsive as humanly possible.
It's really not that hard.
I mean,
as dudes, it's really easy to make a place super unappealing to a woman.
Yeah, it definitely is. Just make sure you clean your bathroom.
Yeah, that's for your sake, Garrett. You said you have, some ailments, some health problems. Keep that bathroom clean because I know that, that's just a playground for bacteria. Everywhere else can be shit though, but
just make sure that bathroom is sparkly.
Yes, make sure to get up a day.
Whenever Snail and I come over, the first place I'm looking is your bathroom.
I'm beelining it into the door. Hey, Garrett, move aside. Right to the bathroom.
Right to the bathroom.
Where you have your life-size stormtrooper.
And which would be definitely not normal, but and your bidet. You can get bidets cheap on Amazon for like $25. Just hook them up to a water supply and keep that behind looking clean.
Sparkly.
Yep. But so yeah, Garrett, good luck.
Good luck, Garrett. Congrats on your first apartment.
Congrats on paying money for a place you don't own.
Oh God, yeah. Can you say it like that?
Everybody's dream. But
at least he's closer to his job, probably.
I would hope so. Wouldn't it be very funny if he moved farther away from his job?
He's actually further away now.
He's actually moved an extra. He just wanted to extra shin splints.
He actually lives in Philadelphia now.
Yeah, he just got to take the train every day.
Can you take a train across Pennsylvania?
Yeah, it would it would not, time-wise, it would not be.
Leave for work the day before.
Yes. All right. That should do it on part 1 of this week's mailbag episode. We have another, I believe, 7 or 8 questions coming to you.
Nice.
Later in the week. Again, if you have more questions, you can always dump them in there. We're also going to be looking for questions to answer later on this summer. So if you have questions, just like general questions,
life
about
advice,
life, or even stuff looking forward to, like question about the NHL schedule, certain games we're looking forward to, feel free to throw them in there, and we'll probably answer them later in July and August and early September until the season really training camp start and stuff like that. So don't be afraid to ask us questions. I think it's pretty much hot everywhere in the United States right now, so stay cool.
Stay cool.
Snail said it's getting toasty up there in the Pacific Northwest. It's toasty here in Western Pennsylvania. It was about 90 today. It's about to be 90 most of the week, so that's always fun. But hope you guys had a good 4th of July. Snail, do you have anything to wrap us up before we close this one out?
Nope, nothing for me. Hopefully we got a Sid contract by the next time we record, but if we don't, never fear, August is near.
Yes, it is, and we will discuss any happenings as well. If the Penguins do break any news like a Sid contract or a trade or anything like that, we'll talk about that as well as the mailbag. So for Snail, I'm Robbie. We will talk to you guys later in the week.